Boom, how's it going? And today we've got Tabs. Tabs, welcome. And yeah, a lot of people probably maybe they don't know you who are watching here today, but I just want to give you a warm welcome. We have heard amazing things, and that's why we invited you on here today. But who is Tabs? Where are you from, and what do you do?
So, hi everybody. How are you doing, TJ? Thank you for having me on the show.
Yes.
I'm from East London. I'm from a small town in London. I've been here my whole life. Let me give you a little bit of history. Would you maybe like me to start with a bit of a testimony, if I can call it that?
Go for it.
So, I grew up in East London, and my folks obviously came from the apartheid era. So they struggled a bit, in the beginning, walking, selling fruit and veg and all that kind of stuff. And when I was very young, when I was actually born, my folks started quite a successful takeaway business, selling curries and samosas and all that jazz. And they continued to sell it. But with that, they became so busy with their business that there wasn't a lot of family time going on. I went with my dad to the bank. I went with him to go buy stock. I basically grew up in the mall. I grew up in the shop. It was very tough, and that also took a bit of a toll on our family life. Family stresses coming home, and there being a bit of conflict in the house, business related stuff. And my brothers were quite a bit older than me, 7, 8 years older than me. So my oldest brother moved out of home when I was 10 years old, and my other brother was, already close to 18, 16, 17. So I was kind of left to my own demise, So I started smoking at a very early age. I started drinking at the age of 10. I started smoking weed at the age of 11. I started going out and partying and drinking with my old friends who were like 15, 16 at the time, I started going to teen raves, clubs when I was 11, 12 years old. And my life really spiraled in a very rough way, I was basically a full-blown drug addict by the age of 17. And it took me a very long time to realize what I was doing with my life, To cut a long story short, just to get to the point where it's at now, is that about 5 years ago, my mom passed away, and I was on drugs. I just had a baby girl, Rebecca, and my drug addiction was so bad that my in-laws even took away my wife from me, and they looked after my daughter, and I wasn't allowed to see her. And I eventually, when my mom passed away, I was living out of my car, ended up on the streets, ended up being hijacked, robbed. I ended up selling my car in pieces and parts, the tires, the batteries, pawning all of the possessions that I had until I had nothing. And what happened was my brother overseas kind of, said, look, you've hit rock bottom here. You've been on the street for 6, 7 months now. He's going to give me an opportunity to come right, to try and get my family back, because I hadn't seen my daughter for 6 months at that time. And so I was sent to a rehab in Nelspruit, Healing Wings, where I spent 6 months there in recovery. In those 6 months, I kind of every week we would get a phone call, and I try to restore my relationship with my wife, with my daughter, with my in-laws, and through the rehab went through a plan of recovery, using the 12 steps. I also met the Lord there, and I recommitted my life to Jesus Christ. And he was truly a big savior for me in my addiction and coming out of mental psychosis, where I thought the whole world was against me and that everybody just was trying to get me, put me down, and nobody understood me, and But being in a long-term rehab really helped because the first few months of being in a long-term rehab, it's your recovery point. You can't start to recover until you have a clear mind. So this is why, short-term recoveries don't actually work, because by the time, the healing starts to happen, you're already on your way out, back on the streets. So being in a rehab where it's 6 months or longer, it allows you the first 3 months to recover and the next 3 months to learn your wrongdoings, and they go really back to the beginning of your childhood, because that's really where drug addiction stems from. It stems from early childhood traumas and, unresolved problems in your life, unresolved issues, resentments, anger, all that kind of stuff. That's where it stems from. So at the rehab, I came up with a business plan, aftercare plan, what I'm going to do to win my family back, to gain my in-laws' trust and my family's trust again, how to become a contributing member of society, if we can call it that. And that's a kind of a word that I never understood before, when they say, what are you doing with your life? Because TJ, you know what happens when you're in that kind of psychosis. The first thing you say to people is, "It's my life. What has it got to do with you?" And this is the selfishness that comes with drug addiction, is that you automatically assume that it's your life. Why is everybody else getting involved? If you want to sit in your room and take drugs all day, that should be up to you. Why do you have to go into the world? Why do you have to work? Why do you have to do all these things that doesn't involve you? That's the self-centered part of it, And when I got out, and my brother helped me start a business, Taurai, and from there, he obviously didn't hand it to me. He made me build it up from the bottom, but he allowed me to put a foot in the door, and the business became a success because I had all my priorities sorted out from my past. I didn't have any hang-ups left. And my motive was to establish a business, get my own place to stay, where my family can move in with me, where I can rebuild my life, where I can, almost in a way serve the community as well, rewrite the wrongs in my life. And that's what Property basically became. I would love to call Property an MPO because, well, I can't, but I'm just saying that everything that Property does, we try to give back to the community. We do feeding schemes. I'm a director of Helping Those in Need, which house 25 abused and abandoned children, which they also support 9 other soup kitchens, feed about 2,000 children a day. All through fundraising and initiatives that have come through being a businessman, being a contributing member of society. That when I put a post on Facebook to ask other businesses to say, like, we've adopted a child now, Property, one of the 25 children in this house, so we pay the cost of this child every month. And what Property did was we got 25 other businesses to also step in and say, right, let's take the pressure off this one household, so that they can carry on feeding the community, because that's what was happening. They had so much pressure with feeding the 25 children in the household that their community efforts were becoming, coming to a halt. So we just got 25 businesses to step in and adopt one child each in this home. And basically, what I'm trying to my point I'm trying to get to is that if I was still on drugs, and if I was still in the old lifestyle that I had, I would never have got my wife back. I would never have had my child back. I would never. The amount of children that we've helped in the last 3 years is in the tens of thousands. And that's, it's actually mind blowing to think that this was what would have happened if I just carried on taking drugs in my room. These are the children that wouldn't have been saved, wouldn't have been fed, and it's just, we wouldn't have had a place to sleep, all that kind of things, So it's really been a long walk. It hasn't come easy, but you won't understand the impact that you can have as an individual until you actually go out into the world and become a contributing member of society and start. Yeah. You don't see the end picture.
Yeah. Tabs, I've got a question for you, brother. You said to us just now that you actually started doing drugs very early on, 11, 12.
Yeah.
How did that come to be? I mean, you sound like your parents raised you well. You've got other siblings that are ahead of you that you can look up to and be who can be role models to you. But how did that journey just start off? And if anyone got a teenage child, how can they check it out to say they could be going that way?
So, what I do with my daughter these days is I spend as much quality time as I possibly can with her.
Yeah.
So we go camping.
And by the way, how old is your daughter?
She's 6 now. We're turning 6 next month.
Okay, great.
In March, yeah. She's my life, and I've really done a full turnaround for her, so that I can live longer, I can be there for her, that I can give her family life that I've always wanted as a child, and not just be like, oh, I'm too busy working, I don't have time for you kind of thing. Not saying that, that's what my parents did, because they came from a very poverty-stricken situation with the apartheid and everything. So they did the best for us to try and get us through school and, to try and, provide meals for us and everything. So I understand that. I'm not blaming them. I'm just saying that because they weren't there, it allowed me to have more freedom of movement. Because, it's like my daughter, she can nag. So you just like, okay, take this, whatever, and it keeps it quiet for a while, So that's what I would do to my parents. But they were in a busy shop, a very busy shop. So when I'm sitting there nagging and trying to get my way, it's easy for them to give me $20 and say, yeah, go play games in the game shop upstairs. Because we were in a mall.
Yeah.
And growing up in the mall, all the security guards knew me. The owner of the game shops knew me. All the side shops knew who I was, It was kind of like a big house for me being in the mall. But what happens in malls is that you get kids who are older, and you get kids who, will let you try smoking around the corner and, have maybe some brandy mixed in a Coke bottle. And it was very easy to do that because the kids would just go to the outside one of the liquor stores and pay one of the guys $10 to go inside the liquor store and buy them some alcohol, And you only need 10 kids to chip in 10 rand to get what you wanted, Back then it was obviously a lot cheaper, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So,
but I think the access is still there, right? So the fundamentals of what you're saying is still applicable today.
Still applicable today. Basically, to answer your question is spend as much time as you possibly humanly can spend with your child. Make that family time very essential, so that if you're gonna take, don't just send your kid out to go, hang around the mall for the whole day, and go, just your child do his thing with his friends. Have a family time. Try and have dinners together. Sitting down and having supper together, something we never ever did. We just takeaways. Everybody went to their own rooms. We never went camping as a family. We never went to the beach as a family. We never did any of those things, and I think it impacted me in a quite a big way. Because that's what I always wanted. Possibly you always want what you don't have. It could also be the other scenario. So kids who have that want the opposite. Kids who have a good family life now they want to like break free and go. So it's a moderation thing. You can't contain your kids all the time. You have to give them the freedom to go out and do things, but not to a point where they're like completely independent at age 12. You can't need to, like, if they want to go to a movie, let them go to the movie, and then after the movie pick them up and like, go home. I'm like, okay, you're sleeping at this ex house for the weekend, and you haven't even discussed it with experience. You just blind faith built, and that's what we used to. And then the one kid says he's sleeping over here, and the other kid says he's sleeping over there, and then they both end up sleeping nowhere.
Yeah. Tubbs, you speak of drugs. What kind of drugs were you exposed to, man?
I was on, so starting with smoking cigarettes, then weed, then I went on to ecstasy, then I went on to cocaine, then crack, then crack is rocks, then I went on to tick, then I was on heroin, then I went on Max, heroin, and tick altogether. And that's, the tick is basically what got me, the meth is what got me really, really bad. Because that is a very psychological drug where you start experiencing massive paranoia, massive hallucinations of, so just you start thinking that everybody's against you. You start getting very insecure. It's very, very dangerous drug, I would say.
Yeah. So I mean, coming through from a background like this, where you have done all of these drugs, I mean, half of them, I don't even know them. Later on, you haven't seen them. But not to say that this is not around me. I'm sure it is. And I think I've just been privileged that, I haven't been able to be that far. Now, you go and turn around your life and you start doing business. And what was the turning point at the drug rehab? And by the way, I actually know of the nail sprayed rehab.
The Healing Wings.
They've done some work with my local church. So I want to speak to you now starting a business from a business plan. So you got a plan, and because I've never been in a rehab before, but for me, I don't think it's about rehab. It's about you turning your mind into why. There's a book that's called Start with the Why. I don't know if you've read read it, but basically, you started off with your why now to create the business. So you already won the business before you actually started it. Because now, but what was your turning point at that time? Because you could have gone on and say, no, let me go and work. But you went back to where you come from, which is your family had a business like that. So it's ingrained in your brain. Subconsciously, you didn't know it, but you had it, right? Because you grew up around it, which is amazing, by the way. So what was your turning point to go back to those basics and say, and how difficult was it actually to put down that business plan?
I don't say, when I was on drugs, I was very creative. I could do little sculptures. I could build little rigs. I could build weapons, like little, spring-loaded harpoons, and like very creative thinking. Most people that were in the rehab are super smart. Drug addicts are generally very smart people that really struggle to deal in real world situations because number one, they're on drugs, and number two, they understand that life shouldn't really be the way it is. Life's really a big mess at the moment. With corrupt governments and all that kind of stuff. It's difficult. Nothing's fair. And because of that, it impacts people emotionally to do what they want, because people who have high qualifications can't get jobs, and it's just disheartening for some, where they go and study for so long to become engineers and that, and they can't get a foot in the door because whatever the reason, preferential treatments and all that kind of stuff. So when you starting a business from the ground up, the most important thing to do is to find something that you are really, really passionate about, something that you really, really enjoy doing. If you are not passionate,
I keep on saying that, brother, to many people.
But
if you're passionate about it, it's so easy for you to do
it. But people follow the money, and they want to do things that make money. But the problem is, you're never going to make money following money.
Preach.
You're only going to make money doing something that you are passionate about, because business is not linear. Business is up and down and up and down, and it's about knowing how to come out of the downs that are going to make you successful. There's no business that's going to go from start to like boom. There's a curvature. You understand? So when you're doing something that you're not passionate about, the minute you go into the down, you're not going to have enough passion to get up again, and to reinvent what you need to do, because you're always going to need to change things. You're always going to need to, you're going to get a teething problem, or you're going to be faced with something that you don't know how to fix. And that's going to be your downfall if it is not your industry, if it is not your passion, if you do not know how to manipulate the situation to fix the problem. You understand? So my biggest thing is, firstly is to identify what it is that you enjoy, and to identify, is it something that you can make a business out of? If it's not something you can make a business out of, then you might have to shift it a little bit to find maybe where that could apply to something else, or you never have one interest. You probably have a couple. So but it's about passion. It's about passion. It's about desire. It's about you have to have a passion for what you do. Like I'm in the food industry, and I always enjoyed cooking, and I always enjoyed having friends over, and I always enjoyed making them food. So for me now to like make food for my town, and to get posts on Facebook about how much people are enjoying my food, and how creative my samosas are, and all of that is like, it's so encouraging. But
by the way, Tabs, did you ever go to a cooking school? I hear of all of your amazing your amazing food and how creative it is. Did you ever go to a cooking school at all?
No, never. No.
Oh,
no. My mom was a fantastic cook. I know everybody says the mothers were fantastic cooks, but my mom was really like top notch. So I stole a lot of.
So you take it from your parents?
Yes, I do. Well, my mom. I taught my dad how to cook, but he's quite good now.
Yeah. So what does your business focus on now? So we've journeyed where you come from, and your turning points and things like that whilst you're at the rehab, and your brother has been instrumental in helping you on your journey, and I'm sure it's been tough for another sibling to carry another sibling, and having the heart to do it, because not everyone is going to do it. What does your business now focus on? What is there?
So my business focuses on, like I said, we help an NPO called Helping Those in Need, who house 25 abused and abandoned children. They in turn basically they run a charity shop here in the town, and they have nine soup kitchens. So I've said that I don't want to delve into anything else. Our main focus is helping children, feeding schemes, feeding underprivileged children, homing abandoned and abused kids. That is our focus. We kind of want to just stick to that. Although we have helped in many other avenues with regards to helping people and that kind of thing. But I feel like the children have the biggest chance of making a difference. And I also believe that it's not the children's fault. It's not their fault for where they are. I know from being on the streets and being around a lot of homeless people that a lot of them choose to be where they are. I've even offered a late friend of mine, a job with a trailer that I had and a place to stay and everything. And because he didn't want to conform to society, he chose the street. That's a choice for some.
Yeah,
it's a choice for some,
Yeah.
So
I like your business.
Yeah,
go ahead.
No, I'm just saying it's a choice for some, and it's very hard to determine who chooses to live on the street and who's there by, just unfortunate circumstances.
Yeah. I like your business concept. So basically what you had is you've got a shop and you make food over and above that. So that's your primary business where you get money. And then you support NPOs, particularly those that are supporting kids.
Yes.
And obviously you're always in need of additional support. So ladies and gentlemen, Tabs' details are going to be in the description, just underneath the video. If you're wanting to reach out to him on the course that he is on, you can reach out to him directly and say, hey, we saw you on the TJ Tribe show, and we are wanting to participate in what he does in whatever form or shape you can do that. And he's doing a great job. So that's the first thing. Then the second thing here, Tabs, is that I'm going to ask you here, we generally are talking about businesses and property. What's your thinking around property? What's your view?
Around property?
Yeah.
Around property. Well, property is, it's always been a thing, It's, everybody's kind of dream is to own their own home, and have that sense of security. And, with the amount of development that's happening and the shortages of property, especially for student accommodations and all that kind of stuff, it's a good investment. I don't know what else to say about it. It's really something that everybody strives for, I think.
100%. Now, you started off doing business, and I think that maybe at some point whilst you're in the rehab, you had these visions of, if I start my business, this is how it's gonna go. Yes, I'm gonna feed my kids and things like that. And you had some benefits that you're thinking that if I get to this level, I'm killing it. Or if I get to this level, Tabs is the man. Now, I've just heard by the rumors that not only have you been winning awards for looking after yourself, so I always tell people health is wealth, right? You want to tell us a little bit more about that?
I was 155 kgs, and
oh wow,
yeah, it was just almost getting impossible to even find clothing. That's how large I was, and I thought to myself, you know what? I've stopped drugs, I've stopped drinking, I've stopped smoking, I've stopped drugs, I've stopped everything. What is the point if I die now of a heart attack? You overcome like life's most difficult addictions, and then you die because you're eating unhealthy and you have a heart attack. So I just said to my daughter and my wife, I said, look, I'm going to be healthy now for you. I'm going to start eating right. We're going to do this thing. It's time now. It's my last hurdle.
Okay. So how much you weigh now?
124.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
My daughter, she's I think 25 kgs. That's what you have lost. You have lost my daughter right there in weight.
I've lost my daughter too. She's 20 kilos.
That's amazing. You were hit recently with another award, and this was in the business sector. So you got recognized for doing business in your area. And I saw that, I read that, I'm like, wow, yes, you are a local hero. What was that award about?
The Daily Dispatch and Johnson & Johnson's Local Heroes Award, where they just recognize entrepreneurs or people, individuals who, contributing members of society who have just helped local, like MPOs. I mean, you don't even have to be an MPO to win the award, but just basically giving back, servicing your community, trying to make a difference in. And it's something that you don't. It's not something you work towards. You don't work towards being a local hero. When I got the phone call, I mean, I was quite shocked. Because nothing you apply for anything. So it's just literally, the people that selected us and voted for us and said, we recognize the work you're doing in the community, and we want to celebrate that with you. So and I feel very privileged. I mean,
what did that mean to you? I mean, I've won some awards before myself, and I think my one award where I was recognized by other fellow investors when I became Investor of the Year. Like you said, I was not looking for it when I was doing what I was doing, but the warm, fuzzy feeling that it came with, knowing that, Flip, there's others that are also seeing me here. I'm on the right path of doing. And I don't know what you felt when you won your award. And I mean, there's plenty more coming, I'm sure.
my thinking was slightly different behind, people recognizing me for what I did. It was what was stood out for me is that I didn't recognize what I was doing until I got the award, because I was just doing little bits here, a little bit there, a little bit here. It wasn't like, hey, I'm gonna go do this thing and go for this award, and just like someone knocks on the door, I open, I go, okay, what do you need? Let's try and make this happen. I get a phone call from this MPO, they're struggling with this. Okay, let's see what we can do here. And that's how it's been going for the last 5 years, 4 years. Just little bits and little bits, little fundraisers, little sweet runs, little shoe runs, little feeding kitchens, little soup kitchens, donating food. It just was something that you actually do. It's not something that you think about or anything like that. So when I got nominated,
you were just doing you. That's all.
I was just doing what I felt of the Lord and the Holy Spirit kind of like leading me to do. Yeah. And when I won the award, and when they phoned me to say I won the award, I mean, it's obviously a few weeks before the award ceremony, so I had a lot of time to kind of marinate in this whole thing. And what the award helped me realize is that what I'm doing in the community is good, and what I'm doing is making a difference. And that was the important part for me, is that not that they recognize me for doing it, as that what I was doing was actually valuable to the community, if that makes sense.
I get you. Now, I want to come back to to companies that donate to NPOs and to types of causes that you do. For some of you guys, you're a small business and you might not know this. When you donate to an NPO, right? You give 100,000 or whatever amount that you're going to give. Normally what happens is that the NPO needs to give you a certificate at the end of the year that you have actually donated this. And that certificate is a very good certificate for you from a tax perspective. So you're going to thank me a little bit later here. But basically what it is that there's a rebate to helping NPOs and such kind of things. So your tax, if you are going to be charged, let's say 50% or whatever the case was going to be on your tax at the bottom, then there's a rebate in terms of maybe they charge you 30, right? So it just depends on how much you are going to be donating, obviously, And this is why we see big people like the Bill Gates of the world and things like that. They are very much instrumental in helping other people, because governments, or from a tax perspective, businesses that donate, they get rewarded from a tax perspective. And you could be asking yourself, why would the government do that? Well, it's the government's job to do this. So you are helping them, you are partnering up with the government. And for that reason, they give you a tax rebate. So that is good of you to go and support local causes like Tabs one. Tabs, I'm going to let you go, brother. But before you go, I want to ask you two questions. If you had to look at your younger self coming up, what would you give your yourself? What would be the advice of your younger self be with what you know today?
Stop thinking that everybody's out to get you. You know, stop thinking that you're right all the time.
Yeah.
Allow people to give you advice, you know, and really apply the advice before you discredit it.
Wow, I like that. And in conclusion, what does success look like for you?
Success is being happy. End of story. If you are happy with the life that you have, no matter what life it is, if you're living on a farm like I am, with animals and, you know, like a little farm life, if you're happy with that, then and you can afford to maintain that lifestyle for the rest of your life, then that is success. If you want to be a hippie, you know, and you want to live that kind of life, and that makes you happy, then go for it. You know, as long as you can support yourself, you can live your life the way you want to live it. And as I would also say that try not to live selfishly. You know, try to live as part of a community. Don't try and isolate yourself. Don't say, oh, I just wish I could take my little family and go live on a little island and just be by ourselves. Because as humans, we're actually not supposed to isolate ourselves. We're actually supposed to live in a community and share and give and share information and share technology
and create together.
And create together, you know. So whatever life you want to live, that's fine. But don't isolate yourself. Be a part of something. You know, whether it's a small community or a big community, be a part of something, because besides enriching your own life by doing that, you're also going to be, you know, leaving a legacy behind of what you've learned and what you are. You know, you're not just going to enter the world and slip out of the world without, you know, ever being noticed or passing anything down, you know. So that's how I feel.
Your business setup now, from the bio that I read, is including yourself, you go plus minus 5 guys that are working for you, or, you know, some people. For me, I don't have anyone that work for me. I think everyone else is a partner in my business. And because without them, I can't do what I do. Staff. You know,
we have 13 staff.
So where do you want to take the business to? What's the big thing for you in your next mile?
So at the moment, we are busy launching our products into all the spas. We started with Debbie Lee Super Spa. We've been with him for about a year selling our samosas. As you know, we have possibly the widest range of samosas out there. We have 18 flavors in store. Now we are starting to supply our top 5 flavors to our local spas, super spas. Debbie Super Spa, Crossway Super Spa, Libby Super Spa, Lagoon Super Spa, Vincent Super Spa, and Cambridge Spa. And we've just also got on board Celtic's fish shop in Western Avenue as well. So the business is going with that. And that is kind of we also supply spice packs. It's a pack of spices that's got everything you need to make curry. We've been doing that for 35 years. It's a business that I've taken over from my mom and dad. That's how I learned to cook using those spice packs. And yeah, we've also started a frozen center range now. It's also being launched into the spas. So yeah, besides the shop, we also launching packs for all the spas. On one of the products, on the frozen solutions, for every pack you buy, R2 is going towards helping those in need. So yeah, we're going to try and be doing those kind of initiatives for now. I just hope other businesses can start following trends as well.
Amazing stuff. Tubbs, you've been amazing. I wish you all the blessings in your journey. I can see, man, that you're being fruitful beyond money. Money, yes, is a catalyst in what you're doing, but there's many things that you're doing here with your hands, turning your life around and now helping the community and others at large. You know, I mean, some of your work, I know that you think that you're helping the one person that you are thinking you're helping, but you actually don't know that there's 15, 20 others that you have just started. So bless your soul, brother, and good and well done, and good luck to your ventures in the future.
Thank you. Thank you. Bless you.
Cheers, brother.